In example 1, number 12, we first of all have some simplifying we need to do before we can even look at writing this in quadratic form. We're going to have to first of all clear the grouping symbols on the left-hand side. So 6m times m is 6m squared. 6m times 4 is 24m. Bring down the equals and the m minus 15 on the right-hand side. Now, we see this quadratic term right here because of the m squared, and that tells us we want to get everything on one side equals 0. So we're going to subtract m from both sides. There's my like term I line up right there. And we are also going to add 15 to both sides. Let me squeeze that in right here. So what we have is 6m squared. 24m minus m is 23m. Bring down that 15 that we added to both sides equals, and on the right-hand side, everything falls out, giving us 0. So the first step always is to write our quadratic equations with everything on one side and then equals 0. Next, it's time to factor. Again, this is a 3-term quadratic. We call those quadratic trinomials, and we suspect that those will factor into 2 binomials, also known as unfoil. Okay? Now, you can either use the AC method for factoring, or you can guess and check. All right, so on this type of problem, there's a couple of different ways that I can organize this to where first time first gives me the 6m squared term. I could have a 6m here and a 1m here, or I could also have the possibility that I would have, say, like a 3m here, and then if I had a 2m here, first times first would still give me that 6m squared. So I have a couple of different possibilities that I need to check. Now, I do know that I want outer times outer and inner times inner to combine to give me 23m, and last times last needs to be a positive 15. And there's a number of ways that could happen. Now it's a matter of just trying to insert some things and see if it would work. So let's say like down here, okay, I want to say, what if I would have like a positive 5 here and a positive 3? Okay, that might work, but then when I go to check it, look at what happens. First times first is the 6m squared. I like that. Outer times outer, 3m times 3 is a 9m. Inner times inner is a 10m. And last times last is 15. Now I'm not liking that because the 9m and the 10m combine to give me 19m, not 23m. Then you can try to readjust that and use some different numbers. Maybe the 3 goes here and maybe the 5 goes here. Or if you can't, or even you could have a, let me kind of scratch this out here. You could even have something like that's a 1 and that's a 15. But then when you go to check that again, you have first times first is 6m squared. This time outer times outer gives us, let me erase all that. Outer times outer is 45m. Inner times inner is 2m. And that's 47m. We're way off. So let's go try this top one right here, where first times first to give us the 6m squared is a 6m here and an m here. So now let's try to say, and let's work with the 3 and the 5, okay? So if I put the 5 here and the 3 here, let's see if that works. Now it's a matter of foiling it out and checking. We're guessing here in orange, and now we're going to say check it. I'll write that in green. First times first is, and I'm going to erase this in a minute here, so I'm just kind of doing this lightly in pencil. First times first is 6m squared. Outer times outer, 6m times 3 is 18m. Inner times inner is a 5m. Ooh, 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 I like that. And last times last, 5 times 3 is 15. And 18m and 5m will combine to give me that 23m. Hooray, we found the way that this thing factors. So I'm going to clean up my checking here that I would mentally do in my head. But to show you guys how that works, I can't mentally do it in my head, and that would just make you mad. So now we have that this 6m squared plus 23m plus 15 factors into 6m plus 5 times the quantity m plus 3, and we have a factor times a factor equals 0. So we're going to take each of those factors and set those equal to 0 and solve for m from there. On the first equation, I'm going to subtract 5 from both sides. So I have 6m equals a negative 5. Divide both sides by 6. So m is equal to negative 5, 6 as my first solution. And for my second solution, I'm going to get m equals a negative 3. So writing our solution in solution set form, we have negative 5, 6 and negative 3.